Hey folks, in this video, we're going to be doing a complete guide of using OBS to live stream your church services. So many things have changed with add-ons and functionality and features in OBS. We decided to do a brand new guide from beginning to end to help those new folks that are getting into live streaming, or some people who've been live streaming for quite a while, show the advances of what OBS can do, some of the recommendations that I would go with based on how long I've used it, and some added configurations, integrations, and add-ons that make live streaming a lot easier. There will be timestamps inside this video so you can easily use it as a reference in the future or as a video guide for any new members that you're bringing into your media ministry. So let's go. Hey folks, AJaytheCEO here. It's just first time stopping by the channel. Thanks for stopping by. And on this channel, we focus on tips, training, strategies, reviews, and builds to help modernize your media ministry. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. And if you like the work that we're doing here, consider becoming a Patreon patron or a YouTube member by clicking one of the links down below. And hey, thank you in advance. So this is going to be a long video. Like I said, we're going to try and go through everything based on some of the most common questions that I get and the repeat questions I get when it comes to live streaming and utilizing OBS. OBS, first off, is open broadcaster software. This is an open source program that's made by a multitude of developers that have come together to build this platform. It is completely free. It does not cost anything. And it has readily available and consistent updates that add new features. When I first used this, a lot of the features were not available, but a lot of the stuff has been built in. So we want to try and go over that. But before we even get started, let's start with the first essential things to make OBS works. And that is mainly the hardware that you're going to be putting it on, as well as your internet speed. Now, it doesn't matter what type of program that you use. We're talking about OBS right now, but to live stream, the internet is important. When you look for whatever type of internet service that you have, 95% of the time, when they tell you the numbers, they're only talking about your download speed. That means absolutely nothing when it comes to your live stream. Your live stream is dependent upon your upload speed. How much data can it support every second when you're sending those ones and zeros of encoded video and audio to your platform of choice, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, whatever it is. So that's very important. So let me go over here and just show you an example of what you can do before you even get started when it comes to live streaming. All right, so I am here and we're going to go to speedtest.net. And again, I recommend you do this because you don't need your computer or anything like that. You really need to have a baseline on what your internet is, because I've seen so many people buy all this equipment to try and live stream, but their internet cannot support it. This will let you know quick, fast, in a hurry what you need to focus on before you even start doing OBS. All right, so let's go ahead and hit go here. And I am using Verizon Fios here. So this first number that you're seeing is being calculated right now. That is my download speed. Again, that's the number that does not matter. That makes viewing stuff, downloading stuff, makes it very smooth depending on how fast that is. Now, this number is the upload speed. Now, with Verizon Fios in my area, for the most part, it is a sequential speed. So whatever I'm getting down is the same thing I get up. Most plans do not cover that. But in this case, this number is great. No matter what type of live streaming I'm doing, this can support it unless I start getting real crazy all over the top. Me personally, my recommendation, if you're looking for what type of number that you want to live stream, for the most part, most people are live streaming at 1080p at 60 frames a second. That's 60 images drawn a second that your computer needs to be able to handle, and the data needs to be able to support sending that. If you're doing that, at minimum, I would aim for your provider that's providing your internet should be able to support 15 or higher megabits per second. That is, again, this number right here. So I stream some of my stuff at 4K, and even at 4K, I'm using 50 up. And again, at this rate, that's more than enough. But be mindful, if you have anything that's not even close to 15, I highly recommend you go ahead and contact your ISP to see if they offer anything else for faster upload speed, not download, upload. All right. Because again, you can have the greatest hardware all day long. If your upload can't support it, no one's going to be able to see it. All right. Now, the next thing you want to talk about is the type of computer that you're going to use to do this live streaming. Personally, I always build my systems. And again, I am not an Apple hater, but I'm just going to be honest with you from a technical standpoint. Can the newer Macs live stream? Yes, they can. But from what it's going to cost, you're going to probably be around 2 times more than what a PC would be. And if you're only using OBS, I highly recommend you get a PC just to do this, because you'll be able to break even a whole lot easier when it comes to a PC and the parts when it comes to that. So let's go over here to another website here, PC Part Picker. And this is just if you were going to build a system to be able to do live streaming. Again, I build them. If you ever wanted to, you can always contact me down below at questions@ajhomes.com. And you never know, we may be able to work out and build a system for you if you're looking for that. All right, so let's go over to one of my really cool website, PC Part Picker, and let me show you putting the parts together of what I would recommend for a system. Whether you want to buy this, have somebody build it, or whatever, these are the minimum specs, honestly, that I've used that give a consistent quality live streaming experience paired with a good upload speed that we just talked about. So again, this might be super technical for some of y'all, but I will have a link down below to all of this stuff. So if you can hand this information over to somebody who's more technical than you, I just want to give you a baseline to help you out. All right, so me personally, I stick with AMD processors just because they give great bang for your buck. We want to go with cores that are at least 4 or more, but let's go for 6 just to give you some power. I like to go with the Ryzen 5 as a good baseline from a cost standpoint. So we can go with something like this 5600G, and that gives you a graphics card and the CPU built in. So that just means you don't have to have an extra piece of hardware in to do anything. All right, let's gonna get ourselves a motherboard. And this is one I always use with this. You want to go with at least 16 gigs of memory. You don't need a lot because this system is dedicated just for live streaming. You also don't need a lot of hard drive space, but we want to have something that's pretty decent. I wouldn't go anything less than 512 gigabytes, but you know, you can go with whatever you want. But me personally, go for 512. I mean, it's dirt cheap at this point now. And let's drop this down in size so we don't go more than what we need. All right, we got that one. And again, we don't need a video card because the video card is built into the CPU. You can get whatever type of case you want. Don't need anything super duper fancy. Let's sort this by price just for us to get in the ballpark. And I've actually used this case myself. And then actually, let me back up one. So you can see what power. I would possibly honestly recommend going with at least 500. It gives you some room to grow. And we don't need to break the bank at all with this. And actually, we can go with this 600 watt, and that's a decent price. And operating system, I have a video. Again, this you can use this with Linux, or you can use this with Windows. I have a video that shows you how to get Windows, a legal Windows license for under $25. So right there, I mean, you can get a monitor or something like that, and keyboard. Monitor is $120. Keyboard is another $25 with a mouse. All right, so let's actually add that. So that way you got exactly everything that you need. We'll have this combo here of the Logitech mouse, and we'll get ourselves a basic monitor here. And let's get a 24-inch monitor. This will work well. So this entire system for live streaming, you're looking at sub $600 for everything. It'll give you more than enough horsepower to run everything for your live stream. And we'll talk about some other stuff, but that's a base. So $600 if you're putting it together. So for this type of spec of system, again, link is going to be down below to my blog that shows you all the breakdown of everything like that of what you can use for my system. Now, I have a similar system here on the floor that I've built. That's what I'm going to be using for this whole thing. So now that we've gone over all of this, let's go ahead and now let's start talking about the software, downloading it, putting it in the system, and then we go from there. All right, folks, so we're now on a system that's built, a custom built system that matches the exact same specs that we talked about. So this is going to be more than enough to run the live stream based on our internet speed and all the stuff that we're going to do. Now, I have linked down below to a bunch of things that we need to get. First is going to be OBS itself. And we're also, actually, let me just go ahead and open the page up for that. We're going to go ahead and download OBS, the right version that you're going to be using. And then we're also, because we're going to be adding some extra add-ons to this as well too, we're going to need the NDI tools that you can get from ndi.tv. Link again is down below. And we're going to download the entire suite of that software. And then the last link for right now, we're going to get the OBS NDI plugin. You just do a search for that, and then you find the equivalent one for the system that you are on. All right, so we've downloaded all of them already. So let's go ahead and go to our downloads folder, and we have all our files here. So let's go ahead and start with the OBS Studio install. Go ahead and run through that. For the most part, you can just hit next through everything. Pretty straightforward. All right, now we're not going to launch it. So go ahead and uncheck that and do finish. Next thing we're going to do is run our NDI tools. And we're going to install that. Again, just follow through all the steps and make sure everything is running for you. All right, I'm not going to register for this, so we're just going to go ahead and close that. And then we're going to run the OBS NDI plugin. Pretty much just next to everything. Install. And that's it. Now, it is time for my shameless plug. And this is where I'm going to recommend when we go through the next steps of the stuff with OBS, I would tell you exactly what you need to do. But I also have built an OBS Complete Bundle that has a bunch of these things already pre-made and gives you a good jump start for all of that you need. And again, you can get that for $20 from website AJaytheCEO.com. So if we go over to this, you come over here to digital, go to OBS, and then scroll down to the bottom. You have an OBS bundle, and this includes a suite of scenes, images, pre-made images that you can already use for your live stream, your intros, your outros, your online giving, a Be Right Back, as well as licensed music that you can use. And again, makes it really easy. But again, we'll talk you through, you can make all this stuff yourself, but this is what I think is a $20 quick cheat to jump the gun. And that's what I'm going to use in some of this. But again, just realize you can make everything that I'm doing, that I'm going to be using in this bundle for free. This is just a cheat code to get this stuff done for you. All right. So now that we got that, I'm going to go ahead and set this up. So the way I actually have this done is I have a file that I'm going to download, and that's what comes with the bundle. And we're going to have this entire folder comes, and we're just going to extract that and copy it exactly to our C drive. Now, this is really important because I use this as my go-to for a bunch of other things as well, too. So you see we have instructions in here to tell you how to do all of this and everything. We're just going to show you how fast this is going to make stuff go for you. All right. So now that we got that, now let's go ahead and open up OBS. All right. The first thing is going to give us this auto configuration wizard. We're going to skip this for now. We can come back to it. All right. Now let's go over a basic interface of what OBS is and how you get around it and navigate it and all this other fun stuff. Let's expand this just a little bit. So obviously, well, not obviously, right here is your program view. You're actually seeing whatever shows up in here is what is going out to your viewing audience of where you're live streaming to. You also have your scenes and sources. Think of that as just like in a movie. You have certain scenes and there's different actors or sources inside of each scene. We will explain that later. We have your audio mixer that will show you what audio levels are going out for the given scene. And then you have transitions that you can change. How do your scenes change? Do they fade? Do they directly cut? All this other stuff like that. And we have our buttons over here. Now, one of the things that they've added in OBS that they didn't originally is they have a virtual camera in here now. So OBS can interact with Zoom and all these other things like that. But we'll talk about that stuff later. All right. Now, we also have up here in our file menus, we have file, obviously, where we can show our recordings. If you're recording through OBS, you have another button to get to your settings. You have a always on top, which sometimes I like that. So no matter what's going on, this will always be there. You can show your profile folder and a bunch of stuff. You edit windows. This is how you can get to your advanced audio properties as well. Your view. If you wanted to change this to full screen, turn off certain aspects of everything, you got it here. Docs, we're going to be talking about that. If you ever have your stuff out of order and all over the place and stuff like this, just drag, because you can move any of these anywhere. You can come to Docs and hit Reset UI, and it puts it right back. So if you ever mess up, you can always do that. That is under Docs. Or you can turn these on and off if you want to. You have profiles. We're going to get to that as well too. So you can make multiple profiles. So for example, you can have a profile for Sunday service, Bible study, or Facebook, YouTube, any other of the platforms that you have, their profiles that will save all your settings. Your scene collector is you can make a collection of scenes for different situations. So you can have a scene collection for funerals, weddings, regular services, Bible study. You can make as many as you want. Don't go overboard, but you can make as many as you want. All right. Tools. This is where you can find that auto configuration wizard that we are going to kick off again. And let's just take a quick look at some things. The fact that NDI we installed before, we know it's working because now it added an NDI output inside of OBS. If we hadn't installed NDI, this would not be here. NDI is not a part of the basic install of OBS. And you got your help. All right. Really straightforward. Now, let's go back and look at that scene collection. And let me show you the benefit of how we would, well, actually, let's do this a long way, and then I'll show you the benefits of this. So based off of when I use OBS and being in church for my entire life, let me show you just a sample layout of what I normally do when I make my scenes for live streaming. So first, we'll hit this plus at the bottom. It'll give us an area to give it a name. I'm going to call this pre-service. And actually, let's get rid of this first scene here. Yes, we want to delete that. So we got pre-service. Then we also have service, which is when it's live. We also have offering. Also have a be right back. We also have technical issues. And then we also have ending. All right. So these are each scene that's going through the entire service. So pre-service is before your service starts. Service is when it's actually live. What are people going to see when it's live? Offering is when you're doing some type of offering presentation. Be right back is for from a live streaming standpoint, you cannot play video and audio that you do not own or have specific license to use or permission to use. So, like, for example, if praise dancers are dancing to a MP3, a CD, or something like that, you cannot broadcast that without permissions. So if that was going on in the live stream, I would go to the Be Right Back and put up a message saying, hey, copyrighted material is being played. The live stream will resume soon. That way you let the people who are watching online know what's going on. You have to, the way we do OBS is we're catering to that audience. So when somebody's sitting inside the sanctuary, they had the benefit of somebody being told what's going on. When you have to block the audio and video, you have to notify everybody. Well, it's good practice to notify the people who are watching, so that way they just don't leave. You want to engage them and treat them as if they were there. All right. Technical issues is for technical issues. It's not that if to stop stuff from happening, it's when it's going to happen. Something's always going to happen. So this is just a way to prepare to let people know that something is going on. And then we also have ending. This is where you submit all your information saying thanks for watching, all this other cool stuff. And, you can tell your website, a special outro from your pastor, your announcements, whatever. All right, those are our scenes. Now we need to add all of this stuff to build the scenes out. But this is where I'm going to cheat. Now this is the untitled scene collection because that was default. Now we're going to leverage that OBS Complete Bundle that I extracted. I'm going to go here to import. And I'm going to navigate over to my C drive to that folder that I extracted, OBS Complete Bundle and Media Ministry JSON file. And I'm going to give it a name of Media Ministry, and then I'm importing it. Boom. Look, nothing changed. Aha, yes it did. Let's go over here to Scene Collection, and it added a new scene collection of Media Ministry. If I click on that, all of these scenes that we just made, minus the technical issues one, has been made. And it has a pre-made 5-minute countdown video that has music playing to it. We have a church name that we can double click on here and change the name of the church. So if I go with my classic prototype church, you can change the font, do all this other stuff that you want. And it gives you there, you can place it in the center. Let's right click and let's transform it. And I want to center it horizontally. Now the countdown is built into the video. You don't even have to worry about that. When that video is over, say it turns off, you have a collection of other stand-in images that will let people know, hey, the countdown is over, but we aren't ready to start yet. And you have 10 of these to pick from. You just click the eye to turn them off so you can see. So it's in layer. Whichever is the one higher, that's the one you can see. So the image you're seeing right now is SS01. If I turn the eye off, then you can see number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It just gives you a bunch of them. And I just put those there that you can pick whichever one you want. Or, like I said, this is a good starting point so you can see how I laid it out and you can just simply replace what I have that's already built out instead of building it from scratch. Let's go ahead and go back and let's build this from scratch so you can see the benefits of all of this stuff. All right. So I'm going to just I'm still going to use the images that were already made to save me time, but just shows you how this works. So from a pre-service, what I want to do is say I want to have a graphic that is notifying everybody, hey, when service is getting ready to start, and we don't want to, you just don't want to jump right into service. You want to give some prep time so that people can get settled and people in the house, in the church, are able to be prepared before, boom, you're just live. All right. So let's go ahead and we're going to add a video, or you can do a still. Let's actually do a still image first. And I'll just say, pre-show. I don't know. You can call it whatever you want. And I'm going to come back to this image. So I'm going to go to CMG Create. That is a great tool that gives you free graphics and stills that you can get if you want to. So I'm just going to use some of these right now. And like, for example, I'll use this welcome, thanks, and announcements. That's what I'm going to use. All right. So I've already downloaded those. So all I'm going to do is navigate over to where I had my stuff downloaded. So here's our welcome. And boom, there is our welcome image. Now that that's in place, I'm just going to lock it and it doesn't move. So that's just a welcome. It's not moving. But again, it gives you something. And say we want to add text and we want to add our church name. We would just add a plus, do text, call it church name. And we'll type in our church name, Prototype Church. All right. So now we can take this little box and we can resize it to whatever way you want to. And we can use the same thing. Right click on that source, go to transform. I want to center it horizontally and boom, there you go. Now that's going to be boring, to be quite honest, because it's just a static image. You want to engage as many senses as possible. People are reading, they're seeing the image, and what we need to do, there's no such thing as smell-o-vision yet. So let's go ahead and engage our ears, and we're going to add some music. But remember, you cannot play any music that you do not own, as in a specific license. So before I pick something, let me give you a recommendation. You can go to audiojungle.net and you can buy a song that you will have a license for. And if you have any issue, you have permission from them to use it. There's also another guy called Scott Holmes Music, no relation. He offers some royalty-free music as long as you don't monetize and do certain stuff with your music. And you can download any of this stuff, find what you like. And again, if we look at licensing here, free for CC Creative Commons. You can use it for YouTube, social media, training, slideshows, school projects, non-commercial, non-profit stuff. You just cannot use it for commercial use. So any of his music that falls in line with that, you can use it. And I've used a lot of his stuff before. So if anybody gets hit, he owns it and he is waiving the rights, and it can be used as long as you abide by those levels of using it. All right. So the license that I have inside the OBS bundle is a song that has a license for it. So I'm just going to use that for right now. So I'm going to add a media source and I'm going to call this background music. Now inside of here, we have settings. How do you want this to perform? The song is not going to be super long, so I want it to loop. So it's going to keep looping over and over again until I end it. So we're going to check off loop. Do we want to restart the playback once the scene becomes active? Once we click on the scene? Yes, we want to. That's how it starts. Use hardware decoding when available. I check this off. That will use extra hardware in your computer if it supports it. If it's not available, it's not going to hurt in any way, shape, or form. And then do you want to show nothing when the playback ends? I don't really need to mess with this because we're playing audio. That's the type of media that we're using this time around. So let me go ahead and navigate to that file here. And boom, you can't hear it, but it is playing music. And that's what that track is. Now, these items, if they're in their final position, I click on this lock. That means that they cannot be accidentally moved or anything like that. All right. Now, before we go further, let me explain some of the settings inside of OBS, because you're probably wondering why all these bars here. And we need to address that so that we don't have an echo issue. Let's go over here to settings now. And inside of here, there are a bunch of settings in this first level. Honestly, from a beginner, most of the stuff you really don't need to mess with at all. But if you want me to go in detail, we will. Just let me know down below in the comments and we'll make a secondary video following up with that. But this is just meant to get you ahead and get you live streaming. So we're going to jump down to audio. And right now, these are your global audio settings, meaning that no matter what scene that I pick. So like right now, we just made this scene. If I go to offering, see, audio is still there. If I go to technical issues, desktop audio and mic is still there. If I go to ending, it's there. These audio settings are global, meaning no matter what you do, they're always present. We don't want that. We only want audio when we specifically add audio. So for example, we want to be right back. We're blocking sound from going out because something is being played inside the sanctuary. If we left these settings on, that music will always play. We only want to include audio when we want audio to be played on that scene. Or let's go back to the movie. Brad Pitt is not in this scene, so we don't add Brad Pitt or whoever your actor is or your source inside of OBS. Hopefully that understands. So we're going to be in global, and me personally, I disable all of those. I don't want any audio coming in unless I specifically add it. So now if we hit OK, now you see audio is gone from everywhere except for the pre-service because we added the background music. That's the only place where we want audio. All right, so hopefully you get that. Now, for our next step, we're going to add a capture device for our computer because you just can't connect your computer, a camera to your computer. You need some type of device that can take in video and audio sometimes. Now, for this example, I'm going to use this $15 capture device that I've done a video on. These are really great, and it's a good get you by for right now to get started. $15, not a big deal. I get a bunch of these just in case of emergency. So let's go ahead and plug this up, and I have a Canon camcorder here to my side that what I'm going to use to connect this. So here is my audio, and just to let you know, in the specs that I have in that system, it did not have a capture card. And there's a reason why I don't do that, because it depends. There are multiple ones you can get. Actually, in the system right now, I actually have an old capture card already, a physical one that goes inside. This is a USB one, and then we have the ATEM switcher that I'm using that can be used as well too. It doesn't matter. The principle is the same. You just pick whichever card works for you. All right, so again, I like this because it's $15 to get started. So this is the output from my camera. I'm gonna plug this into the back of the computer into an available USB 3.0 jack, which normally they're blue. You can tell from there. So let's plug this in. All right, my camera is on. Let's cut back over here. All right, so now, because I have a capture device connected, now let's go to our next scene, which is service. Now we're gonna build this all over again. What we're gonna do now is we're just gonna bring in our video, which is coming through our capture device. So we're going to go here to plus. We're going to go to capture device. And now from our drop down, we're going to pick which one it is. And it happens to be the USB video. And if you are just using this single camera, what you need to do is also scroll all the way down and check off use custom audio and then pick the same device, because we want to just bring in video and audio with that same device. So by doing this, it is leveraging the audio coming from the camera's microphone. Now, you're not seeing an image right now because this is a 4K camcorder and the capture card can only support 1080p. So let's change the menu. All right, so now we got our camera coming through here. So there is my Canon camcorder, and you're seeing audio coming through from here. So if I come over here, that is all the audio that's being brought in from there. All right, really cool. So let's go ahead and lock this in place because it's now taking up the full scene and we're good to go. Now, this is one camera with one audio source. Now, some of you may be wondering, how do I, in this scenario, we're bringing in video and audio just from a camera, and that mic is going to be picking up sound, bouncing off walls, and it's really not ideal. How can you bring in audio from your mixer into your computer for OBS? There's a couple of ways you can do that. One of the easiest ways is to get a connection that's from the back of your computer. Your mixer, you probably have an out that will be either an XLR out, it might be a 1/4 inch out, or it might be an RCA out. Whichever one that you have, you want to convert it down to a 3.5 millimeter cable. Now on the back of your computer, typically if it's color coded, it's blue, or it might be labeled, there is a line in jack on the back of your computer. Right now, I have this cable is coming from a 1/4 inch cable, and I converted it down to a 3.5 coming from my X32 mixer. And I'm going to connect this directly to the system, and I'm going to show you how that audio would be configured inside of OBS, bypassing what it is for the audio for the camera. So I now have the audio coming from my mixer being plugged into the system on the back. So now if we go into the properties of our video capture device, let's scroll down, and this is where we were pulling from the USB capture device. Now that something is plugged in, if we click this drop down, we now have a line in option. Now, by just doing that, we are now pulling audio from the mixer. So if you have multiple instruments, mics, drums, anything like that plugged into the system, that is now going to be carried over, and now you have the house sound coming into your live stream. So really, really easy. So I don't have a mic hooked up to it, but we can hook one up to it. All right, so right now I have the mic that's behind me set up. So let me see if I can pull this down and see if we get any audio coming in through the system. All right, so I'm gonna see if I can, I'm gonna stand up and tap. Actually, let me see if I can turn the camera here. That way you can actually see what I got going on here. All right, so that microphone that's over my shoulder is the one that I'm getting ready to use. So let's look at the bar to see if we get any audio coming through. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3. All right, so now audio is coming through our mixer. So there you go. So if we had instruments, anything plugged in, all that audio is being routed. I recommend, if you are using X32, I have a video to reference how I configure all of that. But again, really straightforward. So we went from just pulling audio from one camera, or we can now pull audio from the entire house sound. All right, we've made a lot of progress. Now let's jump to our next scene here, which is offering. So when it comes to offering, we still want to be able to hear what's going on in the sanctuary. Somebody may be announcing different ways to give: Cash App, PayPal, website, all this other stuff. So how do we still bring them in? We're going to go to plus, go back to video capture, and we're going to select the capture device that we already had because it's already set up. We're bringing in audio, right? Let's lock that. But what we're going to do is add a plus, and we're going to add an image because remember, it goes in layers. And I'm going to call this online giving. And I'm going to select one of the images that was already made, but you can always make your own. And I'm going to use this Cash App one. So now, as you can see, audio is still coming through. Audio is still coming through the system. So somebody could be talking, and so they're saying here, hey, we want to get ready to give online. There's different ways that you can use, blah, blah, blah. And they're still talking inside the sanctuary, but everybody on the live stream, you just change to the scene, everybody's still talking. You can still hear them talking, but now they have a graphic representation of what you're talking about. Now, this could also be done if you were putting presentation software on the screen. But again, we're just focusing on OBS. And this way, because it's in layers, if I just turn this off, you can still see me. But because I have an image over top of it, that's what people are going to see on the live stream. But they're still hearing everybody talk. Really straightforward. All right. Now, from a be right back part, this is just putting up notifications so that people will know that something is going on. We don't want to add audio because that's what we're trying to stop, right? Now, I'm going to, again, leverage something that was in our OBS Complete Bundle that makes this easier. I'm going to just call it Be Right Back 1. And there are a collection of different items that were put here. So we're going to use this GIF image right here that is just an animated pause button here. Then we're going to add another image, and we're going to call that Be Right Back 2. And this is the copyright notice. Boom. But wait a minute, AJ, I can't see the image that you just did because you got this humongous green thing blocking the way. This is where now we can use filters to green screen and do other stuff. And this is going to make it easy. If it works with a still image, it will work with video. So this image with the solid green is inside of this first image. So we want to click on that image and then click on filters. We're going to click the plus and we're going to select Chroma key. Just hit OK and boom, look at that. The green is gone. And now you can see, that sounds like, no, the green is gone. I can see it clearly. Maybe I shouldn't say that because I might get hit for that. But anyway, that green is gone. And now this, you're able to see through what was behind it. Now, what I'm going to do is unlock this. And I want to move this image up to right there. And now let's lock it. And boom, there you go. That's what people are going to see. A notice showing to them, live stream will resume soon. Live audio temporarily disabled. Copyrighted material currently being played. Nothing is going out. But again, you don't want them to sit in silence. So we're going to utilize the media source that we've already used, which is our background music. This is what they will hear in interim until you come off of the scene. So you're hearing everybody talk in service right here. Hey, we got some people getting ready to play. You can see it right here. It's called a capture, video capture device. That's where the audio is coming from because we turned off global. This is the reason why we don't have global audio, because we only want audio when we put it there. So everybody can hear what's going on in this scene in the sanctuary. Everybody can hear what's going on in this scene in the sanctuary because you still see video capture. But when we get to Be Right Back, the only audio coming through is background music. So there is nothing that comes through that keeps you safe, and you're playing music that we have a license to, so you don't have to worry about it. Hope that makes sense. Now, technical issues, we're going to do the same thing, but in reverse. We're going to add that same background music just so people know what's going on, engaging all the senses as much as possible. And I'm going to see if we can do a callback to the old days in TV where you had the bars or something like that that notified that you had a technical issue. You can make an image if you want, or you can, download one, which is what I did. I'm going to call this tech issues. We're just making another image. And this is the one that I downloaded. And boom, technical difficulties. We'll be right back. Great. Well, wait a minute. It doesn't take up the whole screen. Let's right click on that. Let's go to transform. And we're going to go to fit the screen. And it will now stretch that whole thing out. Let's lock both of them. So now if there's an issue going on, boom, you can cut over to this and do technical difficulties. And we'll be right back. You can do this as text, just like we did with the church name. And you can download snow if you want to. You can have a picture of a broken computer. You can make this as unique as you want. You can make it branded to your ministry. It does not matter. It just serves the purpose of letting people know who are watching your live stream what's going on. And then for ending, this is going to be easy. I'm going to leverage another media source that was already made. I'm just going to call this ending. We don't want this one to loop. All right. And again, I'm leveraging the OBS Complete Bundle. I hope y'all are seeing how I did a lot of this work to make it easy for y'all, at least get you going. And then we go to ending. We don't want this to loop. And as you see, it has its own music. It has a thanks for watching. And this video does not go very long. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Have a great day. And we skip forward in the video and see it fades out. And when that's over, you end your live stream. There you go. Really straightforward. So that was the layout of making all of these scenes. All right. Now let me show you again the benefit of the OBS Complete Bundle if you didn't want to make all of that. Let's switch back over to the media ministry one. And all of these were done already except for the technical. So we have some other scenes in here that we don't need. So all I got to do now in here is I just got to point this to my capture device and then set my audio just like we did. Again, we didn't have to make all of that. It was already there. And look, we already got that. If we go to our online offering, there we go. We have different images that we can pick from if we wanted to. That last one was the one we used. We can change our name. We already got our audio and stuff set up. We got our Be Right Back, which was set up exactly the same way. We just made it manually. It was already done for you. And then we also have our ending. The only difference is we had the church name added into this one as well too. That's why it just shows you that OBS Complete Bundle gets you ahead. The only thing that wasn't done was the technical issues scene. So we can just make that real quick, and I need to add that. So let's go ahead and add that real quick. We're going to add our image, tech issues. Right click, transform, fit to screen. Let's lock it. Add another media source, which is going to be our background music. And there we go. So now at this point, we have everything set up from a scene standpoint. And it's just the workflow of how you do it. All right. So now we got all that done. Let's go over here to settings now. And we need to set up our live stream. So first, let's go ahead and jump down to video. And we want to change the output. Originally, when we did this, platforms like Facebook were only allowing 720p, but they're now all supporting 1080p. So we're going to change our output to also be 1080p. And I like to push it to 60, but we'll see and confirm if we can actually do that or not, because we want to make sure our internet and our computer can handle all of this. That's what that wizard is that we're going to go back to. Now, while this is going on, let's go up to output. If you ever wanted to record your service, this is where you can go and hit the record button inside of OBS and it will record it. But please be mindful that recording and streaming, they are both taxing issues. If you are struggling with live streaming, I would not try and record at the same time on the same system. But if you follow the specs that I mentioned, recording and live streaming is not an issue. So right now, by default, it's going to go to our videos folder. Keep it on MKV or FLV formats, because those formats will allow, if there's an interruption in the computer, if it crashes or anything like that, your videos will be saved. If you change it to any other setting like MP4, MOV, or those, if the computer crashes, you lose everything. So just keep it on those settings. All right. Now, I'm going to let the configuration wizard fix these, because if you don't know anything about this data and these settings, let the auto configuration work for you, and I'll give you some tips about that. All right, let's go to stream, and this is where you can pick how you're going to live stream. So they have some typical places that you go: Twitter, Restream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or you can do your custom, or you can do show all, and it has a whole lot more. I'm going to use Vimeo right now. Again, the same steps I'm getting ready to do work exactly the same. I'm just doing Vimeo because I know the stream is not going to go out to anywhere. So let's go ahead and go to our, let me actually change this so you can see where I'm actually going to go to. We're actually going to go to Vimeo, and we're going to get our streaming key, because no matter what platform you go to, they give you a streaming URL and then a streaming key. It's like the key that gives you access to log into wherever place that you're streaming, and it differentiates you from everybody else. All right. So let's switch this over real quick. All right. So I'm in the back end of Vimeo. for streaming. In here, I'm going to go get my streaming via RTMP, which includes a streaming key. This one is blurred, obviously, but we're going to copy this and I'm going to save this on my network so I can copy it over to this system easily. All right. So now let's go back over to the system. And then we're going to go copy that code in. All right, let's go to settings, stream. We picked our service as Vimeo. We're going to paste our key and then we're going to do OK. So at this point, we are primed and ready to live stream, but we're not going to do that yet. We're going to go ahead and let the configuration wizard let us know what settings we can use. What can we do? Can we stream at 1080p at 60 frames a second? Can we use hardware encoding? Does our computer support it? It's going to let us do that. So after we've gone to Tools and Auto Configuration Wizard, we're going to select Optimize for Streaming Recording is Secondary. All right. And let's go to Next. We're going to say, what do we want to use currently? I want to select it at 1080p. And what's our frame rate? I want to do 60. I want to do the max of what it can do. Because if it can do the max, that's great. If it can't, it'll let us know. All right, let's go next. This is where it's pulling from the settings that we just did. This is where it's going to send our test. You can put anywhere, but I'm going to do it on Vimeo. And I'm going to check off prefer hardware encoding because if it's available, I want to use it. All right, let's do next. And it's going to do a test stream, sending out some snow. And it's doing some calculations to know what can we and what can we not support. Just give it a second. So like if I went back over here, you can see Vimeo is streaming right now. The system is streaming to it to do its test. But now we got our results and let's see. What can the system actually support? Can it support the high end? Yes, it can more than do that. It's recommending a video bit rate of 10,000, which is very, very high. It is using hardware encoding, which is good, which is leveraging the GPU that's in the system. Recording, it can support doing both at the same time. It supports 1080p and it supports 60 frames a second. Boom. So we didn't have to make any changes. All we're going to do is apply these settings. Now, in reality, I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to change something. Even though it says it can do 10,000, I personally would do this down by half unless you know that you know that you know. Like if this was the internet speed that I have here, if this is what I had at my church, I would leave it at 10,000. But since it's not, I'm just going to drop it down by half. It's not going to be noticeable. Or you can maybe put it up to 6,000. That's just based off of my settings. That just means at 10,000, that means I need to consistently have at minimum 10 megabits a second consistently for the life of the live stream that I'm doing. If your stuff is fluctuating around around 10 and 12, I wouldn't chance it. I would want to do half. But since mine is at like 500, 10,000 is more than enough. But, you know, it's fine. All right. So at this point, we're good to go. So let's go ahead to our starting scene. We're already connected and we're just going to start streaming. Now, let's look at the bottom here. You have some data down here that we need to look at. So first, let's look at the colors. Green means you are good to go. If you start seeing these colors change, you're starting to have an issue with either the computer or your internet connection. So you got to be mindful of that. Remember, we set ours at 6,000. Right now, it is doing around 6,000 up to 6,200 every second. That's what it needs to maintain. All right, CPU utilization. The computer is only being used 3%. 3% of the CPU is being used to encode our video. All right, we're not recording. Our live stream has been up for 40 seconds and we have no drop frames, meaning that the computer is not struggling in any way, shape, or form to run this. So if we just go to the task manager for the nerds out there like me, and we just look at the data, our computer is not being hit at all with this. Our GPU is being used majority of the time to handle the stream, which is good. Because again, we're not playing games. We're going to use the 3D graphics to do encoding, crunching the numbers, the ones and zeros, instead of us using the CPU to run the computer and do the stuff. That's why the more cores, the more power is better. All right. So now this is our live stream. This is what people will be seeing at the beginning. So I'm going to try and have both of these side by side so you can actually see what's going on. And let's go ahead and cut back over to what the live stream or people who will be watching, what they will be seeing. All right, so as of right now, this is what is being seen right now. Let's make this full screen and we're going to see, we can crank this up to 1080p and this is what's coming across. All right, so while this is going on, I'm going to be changing the different scenes of what people would be seeing. All right. All right, so as you can see, this is what is going on at the same time right now. The top is what everybody's seeing, but then at the bottom are our scenes that we just made. So say we're going to skip forward on some of this, and we want to get close to the end of our stream. So we're within 10 seconds. As you see, it jumped forward here in the live stream. And then we're going to switch. And I skipped the wrong one. So we're right here. So as you can see, when you're doing a live stream, there is going to be a difference in time. It's not going to be exactly picture in picture at the exact same time. All right. So we're already here. You know, we're switching back over to the service. Now everybody's got this going on. We can switch over to our online giving when somebody is talking about it and everything you're hearing if anybody was talking. And then we can go to, wait a minute, the praise dance is going to go on. Let's go ahead and do a be right back. And just waiting for the live stream to catch up with where I'm at. And then say we're back from service now. Now this is what was going to be going on live. And then the service is, wait a minute, we hit some technical issues. And we're going to hit the technical issue one. And let's see what comes up now. And I think I hit ending by mistake while I was doing this. Yeah, that was me hitting that by mistake. And then now we're in our technical issues. But now we're going to, we're finishing the live stream. We switch over to our ending scene. That's what's being played right now. It's being sent, encoded, sent to our platform of choice. And we're just waiting for it to catch up. And then, boom, there you go. That's the end of the live stream. So really straightforward with that so far. But we're going to jump back. And we got a couple of changes that we need to do because that's the premise of everything. Now, we want to leverage some of the other stuff that we mentioned. And that's with the extra tools and stuff like that we were talking about. So let's cut back over to this and let's get rid of that. And we want to switch back over to our computer here. All right. So now that we got this, our stream is over. We want to now utilize some of those extra tools that we installed. So say, hey, we want to add some scripture and lyrics to our, we want to add scripture. Let's do that one first. So let's go over to our scenes here. And we're going to add a couple of things. First, let's go over here back to our browser and let's go to First Fruits Studio. I've done a video on this, on utilizing their free scripture. Right now, it's only in English. You have the free version is that. I believe the paid one actually would give you more, but we're leveraging this right now. So this is really simple. They give you the guide to do everything, and it's similar to what we've done already. We're going to add a new source on our service stream, and we're going to add a browser. We're going to call it Bible, and we're going to set the dimensions, and we're going to copy the path. So I already did that. So let's come in here, and I'm still streaming. So let's stop that. So what they say, we got to come in here to our streaming section that we're at. We're going to hit plus. We're going to hit browser. We're going to call this Bible. Now our dimensions are 1920 by 1080 because we're using the max. And we're going to copy and paste the URL that was in their website. We hit OK, and you don't see anything. That means it is good. We've done everything right. Now let's go to our next item that we need to do to finish this out. Now we need to add our dock, how to control everything. We're going to go to custom docks. And again, a link is down below to this. And I've done a video on this as well too. So let's do this real quick. We're going to go to docks, add a custom dock, call this Bible, give it our URL, apply. And there we go. And I'm going to drag this over here so I can have it to the side here. I'm going to drag this over so I can see it a little bit better. And there we go. So now let's select King James, and we're just going to do Psalms 112. Oh, 112, not 12. And there we go. So now all we got to do in this scene, because it's layered on top of video, if we just pick our verse, boom, there you go. Now you have scripture right over top of your live stream, all built in. Really cool, right? Now, this First Fruits, they did an excellent job. This is completely free. I really recommend that you go ahead and donate. I think it's like $5, and it will give you more Bibles, different layouts, because right now you can't change the color or anything like that. But again, for a free option, this is great, and this will get you started. All right. So we got that. So we can now add scripture that people on the live stream can see. If somebody's reading the Bible, you can bring that up and set this in here. All right. And just click on it again to take it away. Now we want to add something else. We want to add some lower thirds inside of this. And I'm going to reference the video on that as well too, and show you how to do that. So we're going to come over here back to our browser, and we're going to look up OBS animated lower thirds. And again, this is free. We're just going to go ahead and download this. Now, unfortunately, this is for Windows only. All right. So we're going to go ahead and open this. And the benefit of that folder that I made, it makes this work very, very well. So let's close this out. Let's open up that same folder that we had on our C drive, OBS Complete Bundle. And this whole animated lower thirds, I'm just going to take it and drag it and copy the whole thing over. And that's it. Now we need to go through and make some setting changes in here that makes this easy. We're going to click on Common, CSS, every file in here. We're going to go to Properties, Unblock, Control Panel, Properties, Unblock, Style Sheet, Style Source, Unblock. All right, let's go back up 2 folders. We're going to go to lower thirds, and we're going to unblock these 3 files as well too. Browser source, control panel, and lower thirds hotkeys. All right. So now that we got this, we're going to hold down the shift button and then right click on browser source and then click copy as path. Let's go back to OBS. In our same scene, we're going to do plus and do another browser. And we're going to call this lower thirds. And we're going to paste our URL there. Get rid of the double quotes in the front and the back. Change the width to 1920, height 1080. If we do it right, nothing shows up. Yay. Lock that in place. Now let's go back to our folders, hold down Shift again, and now right click on Control Panel, do Copy as Path. Go back to OBS, go to Docs, Custom Browser Docs. Next one down, call that Lower Thirds. Copy the link that we paste the link that we copied, and then get rid of the double quotes in the front and the back. Click Apply. And there we go. And I'm going to drag this over here. And I'm going to put it on top, so now I have a tab so I can jump back and forth between these. All right, one more we got to do. Go back to the folder, hold down Shift, right click on Lower Thirds, hotkeys, Copy as Path. Now we're going to go to Tools, Scripts, go to the plus, and just paste the path there, enter, and there we go. So now what do we just do? We just added lower thirds to here, custom ones. So if I come in here and let me pick my lower third here. Now one thing with this, I've noticed that all of these images need to be placed inside a specific folder. So I'm gonna try and reference these from my network, and sometimes this does not work very well. So I'm gonna actually copy this, and I'm gonna go back to the C drive, OBS Complete Bundle, Animated Lower Thirds, Logos. And then I'm gonna paste my logo there. And then that's the one I'm gonna select. All right, and there it goes. And let's put a name in here. Let's do AJ Homes, and then E Missionary. All right, so now if we did everything right, we turn on the main settings, and then we turn on that lower third. And there you go. There is animated lower thirds now. So you can make one for your pastor, first lady, leadership, choirs, praise team, whatever. And let's make another one here. And I think I downloaded some images already. And no, I didn't. Say we want to do something for online giving. I like a site called Flat Icon. And we're just going to look for something for money. And it's going to be a way of giving. And I like colored ones. It just makes them pop a little bit better for me. Let's see. Let's use this one. Well, no, let's use the wallet. Download this. And what we're going to do is come in here, choose that image, that downloaded one. I'm going to copy and move because, like I said, has some issues sometimes with the location. Paste it in that folder and then select the wallet, click OK. We're going to call this online giving. I don't know, Cash App. PayPal, then website. All right. So now if we turn that on, boom, there you go. There's other lower thirds, and you can make as many of these as you want. All these extra tabs, you can make 10 for each little slot that you want. So you can have one be all leadership, other ones choir, other different events, whatever. So that gives you set up for that. All right, so we just added lower thirds. We got a way to do scripture and stuff. But what if you have presentation software and you want to bring this in and you don't have any way to connect everything? All right, so for right now, as you can see, if I get out the way, you can see right there in the screen that I have scripture being broadcast right now. It is not connected in any way to this system. I am using that NDI plugin that we installed. So what we're going to do is I have this being broadcast over the network, over NDI. I have a video showing how to do all that stuff. We kind of walked through a lot of it already. But what I want to do is come into this same scene just like we did. And now using the NDI function can actually negate using either one of these. or you can use them collaboratively. It doesn't matter. We just like to give you all the tools so you can pick whichever one works best for you. We're going to come to plus. And again, NDI source, if everything was installed right, we should have this option. We're going to click on NDI source. We'll just leave it at that. And can we find anything on the network? All right, well, this is this computer. So we need to find, let me make sure NDI is running on the other system first. All right, so we got it running now. Let's cancel out here, and then let's go right back into it. And there we go. I just didn't have it running on the other system. So let's pick the screen that has that there. I believe it's number 2. And there we go. So now this is picking up what the presentation software that's being sent over the network. Now, how would I use this? Because right now it's blocking out everything. All right. So let's say if we want to run this in a lower third format, if we did it this way. All right. Still not ideal. So what we want to do is let's go ahead and right click on our streaming scene, and we want to duplicate that. And we want to call this streaming NDI, so that we know it's the difference between these two. So let's move these up. So under streaming, the regular streaming, I'm going to get rid of that. So this is what will be going on, but then we go to this scene when we want to bring in a scripture or something like that that's being sent over NDI. In this, just like we did on the Be Right Back, we're going to do another filter on here, and we want to get rid of the color, the black background. So we're going to do a color key instead of a chroma key. We're going to select custom color, select color, pick color, pick the black there, and now you can see through it. All right, really cool. So now if you have scripture, you can have somebody, it'll be this scene, you have it all queued up. When it's pulling over the network, when you're ready, boom, there you go. And then they can navigate now through the scripture as well. And see, the scripture is changing, and you're seeing that change. Now that little shadow, that's because of presenter. I don't have that turned off. So you could do it that way. You could do one that's called streaming with lower thirds. You can do another one with full screen, because if I went back to a full screen, it might mess my colors up a little bit. So we might want to turn that filter off. But that's just a way that you can do this. You can send timers over the network, all this other stuff. But again, you have an option of using a presentation software that's not physically connected, using NDI, or you can use these plugins that either way they can be used. Now, another thing that you could use that I did not go over because I have a video about it is using the virtual camera. This will allow you to send everything that you're streaming to other services like Zoom. You can send the audio to free conference call, a bunch of stuff. We have tons of videos that go over that. But again, this was mainly just for OBS. So I really hope that helped you out. We did their timestamps through all of this, so you can always jump back. But again, this was made for y'all as a reference to hopefully get you up to speed with all the changes that have gone on with OBS and everything like that. Let me know down below if there's anything that you would like me to call out and make into a video to help out in your ministry. Because again, OBS has just ballooned in its functionality in the last 4 years. And again, there's no way for me to cover everything unless this was going to be a 5-hour-long video. And instead, I just make different sections. So please leave comments down below to anything specifically that you would like me to cover that I may have not gone over. And you'll know that I will make a video about it to help you out. So if you like this type of content, appreciate a like, consider subscribing, hit that bell. That way you get notified when we come out with other videos to help modernize and train your media ministries. Thanks for watching, folks. This is AJ, and we will catch you on the next video. Later.